Hello everybody and welcome back to another Marvel Crisis Protocol character spotlight. And today we are taking a look at the Immortal Hulk, Bruce Banner himself. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and jump right into things here. So Immortal Hulk is a very unique character. He's coming in as a 7 threat, so definitely one of the higher brackets in the game here. And he's got 4, 3, 5 defensively and 15 stamina. So a metric ton of stamina to chew through there, but very notably, he doesn't have a flip side. But there's kind of some gimmicks to that, and we'll talk about that in a moment. He is a size 4, so he's relatively hard to be pushed around, but when he does get thrown, you gotta watch out for him in your own models. And he is a slow mover, but he is on a large base, so that helps make up for that in a big way. So yeah, definitely a definitely a stat block worth talking about here. With his 4, 3, 5 defenses here, he's also got kind of an obvious weak side and a very solid strong side there with 5 dice mystic. So definitely something you have to consider there as well. Going into his attacks here, he's got 2 attacks here. They're both going to be physical. The first one is just a smash attack. This is going to be a range 2 7 dice physical attack, and you're going to gain power based on the damage it dealt, so you're just standard builder there. But it has a really solid trigger here, being the wild throw trigger. After this attack is resolved, if the target character is size 4 or less, you may throw the target character small. That is an omnidirectional throw there, so you can throw them back towards the rest of your team or something like that if you want, or you can throw them away, get them off of a point, whatever you're trying to do with it. You got a lot of flexibility there, and being size 4 or less, that is throwing most of the characters in the game, with the exception of like Sentinels and Dormammu and stuff like that. So yeah, really solid trigger to have on a just basic builder here, which is also just throwing out 7 dice, so pretty hard hitting as well. Next, we go into his spender here, which is Gamma Burst. This is going to be a 5 cost spender. It's going to be throwing 10 dice on the physical side, and this one can be used from range 3, so you don't have to be quite so up close and personal with it. And it's got 2 things on it here. The first is that before damage is dealt, you're going to get to throw the target character small. This one is size unrestricted, but once again, any direction you choose, you use that to bring them closer, so you can punch them again with a smash attack or something like that if you would like, or just, go for distance. It's a range 3 with a small throw attached, so that's pretty good there too. This one is also before damage, unlike the other ones, so even if you take them out and, you're dazing them or something like that, you can still throw them to have them be in a worse position for later turns and things like that. So really strong throw on this one here. Also, of course, being no trigger for it, it's just automatic, is great. In addition to that, the target character is not going to gain power from damage dealt by this attack, so that's also really good, turns out. One thing to keep in mind is that the damage from the throw is not damage dealt by the attack, and because the throw happens first, even if the attack would have dazed them, they'll gain the power that they take from hitting something on the throw. So there's something to keep in mind if you're trying to watch your opponent's power with this throw. Make sure, if you're dazing them without doing the throw part of it, maybe throw them into nothing so that way they don't get that extra power back. But obviously throwing their models into each other can also be great for just spreading around damage. So there's pluses and minuses, but you have the choice, so that's always good to have. But yeah, really solid spender here. Obviously 10 dice is also just no joke. That's going to hit really hard. And yeah, just all around pretty good. Next, we go into his superpowers here, and he's got 2 active superpowers. The first one is the Gamma Leap superpower. This is a 3 cost, and it's just going to place him within 2 of his current position. The superpower can only be used once per turn. And yeah, this is really good. On that large base, that range 2 place is getting you a lot of mobility there, so yeah, really solid. Definitely great for, being able to punch things pretty consistently, even after he's been controlled, thrown or pushed by the opposing team. So really solid for that. He's also got the Leave Hulk Alone superpower here. This is a 3 cost that says choose an interactive terrain feature or an enemy character of size 4 or less and within range 2, and throw it medium. Once again, any direction here, and you can only use this once per turn. This is great. No notes. 3 cost throwing either terrain or character size 4. Yeah, that's really strong. Just kind of being able to say, hey, you're now medium away. I hope you weren't a slow mover because it's going to take you a while to come back. Turns out really good. So yeah, great superpower here. Next, we have Endless Rage. During the power phase, this character gains 2 additional power. This is really, really important because this means he can either Gamma Leap or leave Hulk alone on turn 1. So, if your opponent's standing on a middle point, you could double walk and throw them up, or you could walk and Gamma Leap and try to punch them and maybe get that wild throw and still throw them off. So, yeah, really, really useful to have that extra power there, and a huge part of what makes him such a good model. Now we get into the complicated part of Immortal Hulk, and that is his immortality. During the cleanup phase, if this character has a Daze token and an Immortality token, it is KO'd. Alright, cool, so don't get dazed with an Immortality token. How do we get an Immortality token? During the cleanup phase, while this character is dazed, this character does not have an... if this character does not have an Immortality token, it removes all special conditions and all damage from itself. For each, all power. For each power removed this way, it removes 1 damage from itself. It then removes its Daze token and gains an Immortality token. Okay, so if you get knocked out and you've taken 15 damage, and then you have, let's say, 7 power on you, you're going to lose all of that 7 power, but you're going to heal 7. You're going to have 8 wounds, 8 damage on you, and 7 health remaining. Cool, but you're going to gain this Immortality token, and if you get dazed with that Immortality token, you are KO'd. So how do we get rid of this Immortality token? Well, at the end of each turn, going into his next superpower, the green door here, at the end of each turn, if this character has an Immortality token, it may remove 1 damage from itself. If this character ever has no damage, it removes its Immortality token. Okay, so really a lot to unpack here. Basically, you're going to remove 1 damage every turn. Now, that's really, really important that you know the way a turn works in MCP versus an activation or a round. Is a turn is basically when you are given the chance to activate. So a turn still happens if a player passes. A turn, happens on every activation, whether it's yours or your opponent's, with the exception of characters like Corvus and Proxima, for example, who can both activate in the same round using their husband and wife superpower, or sorry, in the same turn. I shouldn't be mixing up terminology while explaining this. So basically, every time a model finishes an activation, with a handful of exceptions, Hulk is going to heal 1, and if he ever hits full health, he's going to get that token out of there. So then your opponent has to start at ground 0 again. They have to daze him, give him the token, and then daze him again to get rid of him from the board. So he is really annoying to kill if you're not careful. Ironically, one of the models that's better at doing it to him is himself, because he can kill them while not giving them power, and then if they try to remove power and can't because they only have they have no power, they're just done. Or if they even just have 1 or 2 power left and you can daze them like that, it's going to be a rough time for them because they're going to be on 1 or 2 health, and that makes them a lot easier to finish off. But if they get to heal 10 power, you got to chew through at least 10 more health, plus they're going to heal 1 every turn. So that's going to stack up quickly. And then if they remove the token, you've wasted a lot of attrition going into this model. So yeah, really, really powerful survivability superpowers there. Next, he has some immunities to some pretty meaningful conditions as well for a model like this, that being Hex, Poison, and Stun. So yeah, he's going to be gaining power, with the exception of, against himself or like a Ghost Rider or something like that. He's going to be gaining tons of power. The Poison immunity is solid for that as well. Just being able to make sure he's always got one of these superpowers online. And then Hex is great because he throws big dice pools, and big dice pools tend to get more crits, so that's pretty good. Next, we're going to go ahead and take a look at his tactics cards here, and I'm also going to give an honorary mention to Patch Up, just kind of being a generically good card, but is incredibly good with Immortal Hulk, because if you happen to have priority on the round that your opponent dazes him, and he gets dazed with 10 power on him, so obviously, try to keep that in mind when you're getting worried about him going down. He's going to heal 10 at the start of the round, and then it's going to go to his turn, or your turn as the player. And if you patch him up for a full 5, he immediately loses that token, and you just undo 15 damage worth of work the opposing team did. So yeah, definitely something worth considering there. But as far as actual tactics cards related to him go, he has 2 of them here. The first one is going to be Gamma Drain. So Gamma Drain is an unaffiliated card that says during the Immortal Hulk's activation, he may play this card. Choose an enemy character within range 2. The chosen character gains a Gamma Drain token. The Immortal Hulk places this token on an active or reactive superpower of the chosen character. When a superpower marked with the Gamma Drain token is used, after the effect is resolved, the Immortal Hulk gains power equal to the power spent to use the superpower. So, yeah, this one's kind of cool. I really, really like this from kind of a design and thematic standpoint. So let's say he's playing against himself. There's another Immortal Hulk on the table. He could put this on, let's say, the throw. So now every time that opposing Immortal Hulk chooses to use that throw to, let's say, throw him, he's going to gain that 3 power that they spent, and then he could use that to, Gamma Leap back or throw them himself or something like that. So, yeah, it can be really, really solid against models that are spending power very, very frequently. It's going to help him always have power, especially for when he flips. You want to make sure he's got all of that extra power to make sure he's on good health when he kind of wakes up after getting dazed. So yeah, I think it can be an interesting card for situations like that. Unfortunately, he's usually not a model that's really suffering for having power issues, so it doesn't end up being played all that much in my experience, but it is a really cool card and definitely something you can use to kind of make your opponent think twice about some of the characters who are using superpowers very, very frequently. So it's at least a very interesting card in my opinion. Next, we have the One Below All, and this one's kind of cool because it does 2 different things depending on what point in the game you're at. So during his activation, he can spend 2 power to play this card. If he has an Immortality token, he may remove up to 2 special conditions from himself, so cool, when you're healing up, it's just going to help you, maybe your opponent lit you on fire because they wanted to really make sure they could get you down. You can get rid of that fire and have a better chance of, coming back up to regular status there. And if you don't have the Immortality token, it just lets you place within range 2 of your current position, which is really, really good because considering your Gamma Leap, which does that exact same effect, costs you 3 power usually, being able to do it for 2 is really, really nice, especially in some of the affiliations he's in and with some of the things you can do with that. Whether that's just picking up an objective on your way to get to the fight or something like that, or more specifically in one of his affiliations here, good segue, Midnight Suns, he can use that for the leadership there, being able to bump, which is kind of insane. And we'll talk about that in a moment, because now it is time to talk about the affiliations he is a member of. And those include only the 2 here, Midnight Suns, as we just mentioned, and Defenders. So we'll go ahead and start with the Suns here, which in my opinion is his best affiliation. And yeah, in Midnight Suns, Blade is the leader here, and he gives you the Bump in the Night leadership, which lets you pay 1 power to place yourself within 1 of your current position. Immortal Hulk loves this. This is just amazing with him. With that card on turn 1, he can do that and use a range 2 place, so really, really give him tons of distance. Definitely a very viable strategy with him. Some people have even brought models like Lockjaw into Midnight Suns to just be able to basically bullet Immortal Hulk up the board, and yeah, it's really, really good. So yeah, that superpower, or that leadership rather, is fantastic for him. Even beyond that, if you get thrown medium or something like that, maybe you're playing against another Hulk or a Beta Ray or something like that, being able to range 2 place followed by a range 1 place with that large base is just absolutely massive for getting back into the fight. So yeah, super good leadership for him. I remember before he was released, people running regular Hulk there for kind of the same idea. And yeah, having an affiliated version is just really, really good. Other things in the affiliation that help him out, obviously there is the Siege of Darkness Tactics card, which is kind of the Midnight Suns signature card there, which basically lets them pay 2 power to make an attack. And for Immortal Hulk, that attack is really, really meaningful. That's a 7 dice attack with a wild throw on it. It's only costing him 2 power. He's probably gaining that back from his attack there. So yeah, really, really good on him. As far as other models in the affiliation, you got models like Doctor Strange and Wong who can heal him up once he's trying to get back to his quote unquote healthy side, because that is one of the advantages of him, is he never actually flips, so he's always better for objectives. But to remove the ability of him being removed from the board, you can heal him up with them. You've got stuff like Iron Fist and Frankenstein's Monster with their tactics cards to take hits for you as well. Both really, really viable options to just trying to keep him alive as long as humanly possible, especially once you get to that flip side. So yeah, there's a few things that work pretty well with him here. In general, he's just a really, really solid piece for this affiliation. The other affiliation he's a member of is Defenders, and yeah, he definitely likes Daredevil's leadership too. I mean, Daredevil's got that leadership that lets you reroll some of your attack dice based on the number of enemies that you're kind of engaged with there, and that's definitely one of the things he's missing on his kit here is he doesn't have any form of dice consistency. So being able to give him those rerolls on those attacks gives you some increased chances on that throw trigger. Definitely worth considering. He is kind of competing with Original Hulk, who does a lot of the same things for a threat less, but he is the harder of the two to remove from the table. So there's kind of a very real argument between the two of them as to which one is worth bringing in which situation. And yeah, I don't think you're really wrong for going with either. So other than the fact that he's kind of got some obvious competition there, he is a really worthy consideration in a Defenders roster. You do have some of the support that you have from Midnight Suns as well. You've got Wong and Strange still for healing and things like that if you need it. You've got Iron Fist and Luke Cage for Heroes for Hire, so you've kind of got some of those same things that were really nice to have with him in Suns as well. So yeah, he's got a lot of kind of the same support net here. Overall, there's a pretty decent amount of overlap between the affiliations. So yeah, he definitely appreciates the Defenders things as well. As far as general affiliations go, I mean, he is kind of a beast. You can put him in a lot of different places and he's just going to do what he needs to do. A lot of the time there's a strong argument that Hulk is easier to splash in, being a 6 threat instead of a 7 definitely matters. But he does definitely have a lot of value to a lot of different teams. I've seen some pretty rude things with him, specifically in Shield, where he was using things like the Shield Mobile, and I think he needs to use the initiative to use that, but using the initiative and the Shield Mobile to be able to what's it called? Long move up the board, basically turn one, and just start punching the middle line right out the gate, which is really big deal, obviously. You can give him some rerolls through something like Invincible Iron Man's leadership, or defensive rerolls through Namor or Steve's. Fury's is just kind of insanely good, and being able to use Fury's card as well, of course, is really nice on a model like him, again, especially when you're trying to bring him back up. So all really solid options for him there. I personally would avoid bringing him somewhere like Avengers, where you have access to regular Hulk as an affiliated member. That's definitely one of those situations where, yeah, if one of them is affiliated and the other isn't, the affiliated one is the better choice between the two, because they are very similar characters and they do very similar things. So yeah, Immortal Hulk, still probably not a bad pick there if you just don't own regular Hulk, but regular Hulk is probably the better choice in specifically Avengers. Another option worth considering is doing something like the Hydra trick with Immortal Hulk that people have done with regular Hulk a few times, which is basically playing the I'm blanking on what it's called, but the Hydra card that basically says your opponent can't use reactive superpowers or tactics cards during their activation, but if they make a punch that doesn't kill someone, then they lose that ability for the rest of the game. And the reason why it works with both versions of the Hulk is basically while you have that card up, you can walk up to someone, you can throw a size 4 at them. They're not allowed to play Brace for Impact. They presumably take like 3 or 4 damage from that if they're a 3 defense model. And then you throw a 7 dicer at them, you're very likely to take them out. And yeah, you just kind of get to keep playing that play pattern of Hulk making a throw and then a meaningful attack, and they don't get to use any defensive tech against it. And yeah, it's really good, and I see no reason why it wouldn't work with Immortal Hulk just as well as with regular Hulk. So yeah, it's definitely a solid kind of combo to consider. You also get some rerolls and stuff here from stuff like Zemo, so worth considering for that reason as well. Another couple that could be worth considering would be something like Thralls of Dracula or Emma, where basically you get to kind of take the healing to the max there. With either of them, you just kind of take advantage of that the extra healing that those leaderships can provide you. Keep them in the fight longer. Get rid of that immortality token as soon as humanly possible. Definitely worth considering for both affiliations, and of course they have no problem bringing whoever they want as splash models. So that's totally fine for them as well. So you don't even really have to worry about the fact that you're trying to squeeze in a 7 threat, because you can bring whatever the heck you want, and that makes it really easy to do. So yeah, really solid somewhere like that as well. Another place he could be interesting is something like Kingpin Criminal Syndicate, because he's always healthy and he's got those great control abilities. I know Kingpin generally tends to go a little wider than that. 7 threats are a lot for him. But if you're playing on something like a Gamma or a Researcher or something like that, he could be really, really meaningful on one of those scenarios. Even just kind of midway through the game, being like, okay, well, he's going to sit on your back point now, and he's healthy, because if he's still in the game, he's healthy, and he's just going to win that point or tie that point or something like that, which can be really, really meaningful. So yeah, something like that I think could be pretty interesting for him. But yeah, I think that is just about going to do it for the Immortal Hulk here. I mean, he is a very, very solid powerhouse model. Definitely kind of worth considering putting if you're looking for a centerpiece model in almost any list. I mean, any sort of fighty scenario he's going to play really, really well on. Stuff like B maps and F maps he can do quite well as well. They're obviously not as great for him as something like an E, but still very, very good for him. I'd be a little bit more hesitant on something like a D shape. He doesn't have quite the mobility to be rotating between points super effectively. So maybe in those situations, cut him for like a 3 or a 4 or something like that. But if you're planning on playing some more fightier teams and things like that, he's definitely a worthwhile inclusion in most teams, because yeah, I mean, he hits like a truck. He's very hard to kill. Doesn't quite hit as hard as the other Hulk, not getting extra dice as he takes damage like the other one does. But having that wild throw on the attack here is definitely a really, really powerful trigger to have access to. And as far as control goes, he can do all of the things the other Hulk can do, just as well, if not better. So yeah, just in general, a really, really solid model. But that is just about going to do it on my thoughts on this character. Definitely let me know what you guys think down below. Always curious to hear where you guys tried out some of these models and where you guys found success with them. So yeah, definitely let me know down below where your guys' favorite places to run Mr. Immortal Hulk are, or if there's any just kind of, single model synergies or things like that that I missed and didn't talk about here. Very curious to hear what you guys are doing. But that is going to do it for my part of this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please do drop a like down below. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, helps us out a bunch, lets us know you guys are enjoying the stuff we are throwing out here. And if you want to support the channel just that little extra bit, we recently turned on channel memberships, so feel free to go ahead and check that out. But yeah, that's going to do it for this character spotlight here. I almost said battle report. But yeah, one more time, I hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, have a great day, everybody. Peace.